I'm glad to see you made it. I had my doubts, but the hope you instilled has yet abandoned me.
I guess this must be Tarawea. Who are you?
My name is Juan Luis Jorge, and this is indeed the convent of Tarawea. You'll have to excuse me, but Yermi never got your name.
The name's Edward Carnby. I'm a private investigator. You're not a patient, are you?
No. I'm the author of a book that Yermi once found important.
How does that work? Are you part of this memory as well? Is this even a memory?
I think calling me a manifestation of Yermi's subconscious would be more correct. And so is the convent of Tarawea. I'm a man Yermi has never met, and we are in a place that he has never been.
Okay. So are you here to guide me or something?
I have no more purpose than you do. I simply am. I will happily help you, of course, if I'm able.
If you are already somehow part of Jeremy, why did he want to come here? Isn't he sort of here already?
Yermi wanted to come here because it's a representation of his mind at peace. When Dr. Gray asks him to find his focus during his sessions, this far-flung convent is what Yermi imagines. He is under the impression that if he could physically come here, he would reach a perfect equanimity, a spiritual apotheosis.
You don't think it would work?
Yermi subconsciously knows it's just wishful thinking. He can't come here. Despite the pathways opened by the dark man between their Seto and Yermi's psyche, it's simply not possible.
But I'm here.
Indeed. It's a shame it's just another place for you, Detective. Otherwise, you could have become a Buddha.
Always a bridesmaid, never a blushing bride. Am I right?
Yes, I suppose so. You'll have to chase enlightenment elsewhere.
So what's the next best thing? What can I do here?
You should seek out the convent library and try to find the truth about Yermi's relationship with the Dark Man. It's the sort of knowledge he represses and is unable to reflect on.
Will it tell me how to break the pact?
Perhaps. At least you'll have something to confront Yermi with.
Wait, why can't you just tell me?
I don't know such things. You'd be better off consulting the texts of Dr. Freud if you want such answers.
No thanks, I hate shrinks.
There is another thing you should know about the library. He is here as well. The Dark Man has been working his way through the text for a long, long time.
He's here? How am I supposed to get past him?
Be careful, Detective.
Oh, jeez, just perfect.
Carnby felt confused by the pleasant nature of Tarawea. It was somehow uncomfortable to him. Juan, the sweater-wearing Buddha, wasn't helping either. According to Carnby, people just weren't meant to be this nice and genuine. Best to hurry off to the library, he thought, and see if he could find information about Jeremy's relationship with the Dark Man.
You have any advice on how to deal with the Dark Man?
I suppose suppression could work. Try not to pay him any attention.
I know you said Jeremy's never been here, but does this place exist in real life?
I think it's supposed to be Mexico. But I am not certain of Tarawea's origin.
Well, good to meet you, Juan. I'm going in.
May the gods be with you, Edward de Bilban.
The great library was endless, beautiful, and terrible. An Akashic record for the universe inside the mind of Jeremy Hartwood, now corrupted by a story forced upon him, told by a maniacal liar, an evil conjured by science and secrecy. I will suspend a room and lock away the foundation of his character. Its key will be left to the librarian, the only thing invisible to the prowler.
Bull worship is common throughout history. For Christians, this can be seen in Exodus when the Israelites turned to worship a golden calf in Moses' absence. This passage shows the people falling back to the worship witnessed in Egypt, known as the Hapes bull. Another famous example is the Minoans on the island of Crete. Their worship of the bull gave rise to the myth of the Minotaurus, the half-man, half-bull monster that reigned the labyrinth. But for this particular case, I think I should tell you about the deity Astarte that brought the Taurus constellation to life to attack Gilgamesh. Even for a mythical hero, this celestial bull would prove difficult to defeat. Only by distracting the bull with a golden sail was Gilgamesh able to pierce an eye with the spear, which bled the bull to death.
Why do you have to manifest your worst fears, Jeremy? It was in the hot autumn that I went through the night with the restless crowds. He was a kind of itinerant showman who held forth in public halls and aroused widespread fear. The New Orleans address of the event is lost, but I remember distinctly the Prext Shipping Company pressing their contribution. Hey.
Detective!
Juan! Juan!
I hope you found what you were looking for. I fear there is no going back.
I was so close. There must be something I can work with. Come on, Carnby, think. Think! The shipping company. Prext. Right.
Good luck, Detective.
Well, thank God you're here, Detective. Sitting all alone in a place like this. I'd never live it down if the papers got wind of it.
Hey. Ruth, right?
Oh, don't pretend you don't know. I'm sure you have a whole file on me by now, Detective. I suppose we weren't formally introduced. I'm Ruth Talon. Miss Ruth Talon, in case you're wondering.
Edward Carnby.
Enchanté.
Are you sure?
I had too many already.
Nice. It's good.
I know. I have great taste, Detective. I heard you're trying to break Jeremy's promise to the Dark Man.
Yeah. Do you know anything about that kind of stuff?
No, but it makes you wonder. If he made a promise, can't he simply stand by his words?
Look, I'm just trying to get Jeremy out of a bad deal, so he'll come back with us to New Orleans.
Well, if all fails.
What are you doing?
It's a sign of submission to the Dark Man. I saw it in a dream once.
What? You don't know the Prext Shipping Company by any chance?
I do. They made big money during the war. Their waterfront office is just over there.
How did you do that?
Do what, Detective? Bonne chance.
Hey, have you seen Emily Hartwood anywhere?
Are you trying to make me jealous, Detective? No, I haven't seen your doll anywhere.
New Orleans lies southwest of the Seto, along the great Mississippi River. Its old town, the French Quarter, or the Vieux Carré, is home of the proud and often rich Creoles. Wrapped around this center, you will find a large and eclectic city full of people, including the most mundane dock workers, reckless gangsters, jazz-crazed flappers, and of course, the mysterious voodoo people. At night, you can stand on the lakeside of the Seto and watch New Orleans glow like embers on the horizon.
Somehow, Carnby was back in New Orleans, close to the docks. He could smell the pungent aroma of the Mississippi River. In front of him was the Prext Shipping Company. According to the book in the library, he should find the address to where Jeremy first met the Dark Man inside.
Prext Shipping Company. According to the book in Tarawea, the Dark Man was connected to a performance that Jeremy went to somewhere in New Orleans. I'm sure I can find the address inside. The sewer system has a tunnel running right below Craig's Shipping Company. I bet I can use it to get inside. All finished. All right. Made it inside the warehouse. The office must be upstairs.
Asleep, with an anesthetized mind, Yermi filtered these words from Darceto's gangrenous ground. Ever their praises, and abundance to the black goat of the woods. Hear us, mother, and take pity on us. Accept our sacrifice, and judge our worth. Ja, Shubnigrath. Ja, Shubnigrath. The black goat of the woods with 1,000 young.
Hey, I always wanted to try one of these.
Gotta go manifest on.
Here we go. The address where Jeremy first encountered the Dark Man. Looks like the fog cleared up.
The address of the event where Jeremy first met the Dark Man surprised Carnby. The infamous Gallatin Street didn't exist any longer, and he wondered if he would be able to find the right building. Was it still standing? Did it matter? Maybe this world was not just another place, but another time as well.
You want to tell me what this is all about?
Welcome, Detective, to the greatest show this side of the Mississippi. Nyarlathotep, the Black Pharaoh, the ancient magician who lived 1,000 lives and wore 1,000 masks.
I can see why you settled on calling him the Dark Man. Saves your breath. So, you got scared by a stage magician, and now he's living inside your head.
You can mock me, Detective, but you would be the crazy one to think his presence can be ignored. Look where we are!
We didn't get to finish our last conversation, did we? You were about to tell me how to break the contract with the Dark Man.
No, we can't. We would turn her loose on the world. So many innocent would die.
But there is a way to break out of the deal.
There is. You offered me a way out. Steps to take.
What are they?
You'll never find them. They're forever entombed in his sunken desert temple.
Jeremy, I'm not your enemy. Tell me where to go. How do I find the temple?
No, we can't. I have to make this sacrifice.
God damn it, Jeremy. I'm gonna save you. Don't worry. How do you save someone who doesn't want to be saved? Well, he's gonna get saved no matter what. Just need to find the temple somehow. Oh.
Carnby found himself in a vast and dark desert. He had certainly had his share of strange happenings this evening, but the thought of walking through the land of Tutankhamun was definitely challenging his last bastion of disbelief.
Ugh.
The Temple of Nephron-Ka lies under our camp. Despite all efforts, that unholy site did not collapse, but sink beneath the sand. The pharaoh is long dead, his name meticulously stricken from all ancient writing. But that stage meant for blood and terror remains. The temple is said to be lightless, built to harbor all the haunters of the dark found in the very depths of our universe. Calling on the gods meant creating a bridge between our world and theirs. The terrible Aldebaran of Taurus, the Black Sun, was seen as the most important star in the night sky, because according to the Kitab al-Azif, it was said to be the home of that crawling chaos known as Nyarlathotep. Through ancient mechanisms, it was said that the priests could open shafts channeling the light emitted by that strange stone called the Shining Trapezohedron. Several streams pooled together above the statue of that dark man would then be sent through space towards the Black Sun, a message to the gods. The gifts bestowed on the sender are completely undocumented, but often assumed to involve dark blood pacts. where souls are traded for malicious miracles.
Here we go.
The Dog Man's temple was buried beneath the sand, a cursed and dark place. Every step felt ill-considered. Carnby needed to find the contract that Jeremy signed with the Dog Man and get the hell out of here before he went completely mad.
It's the star constellation from one of Jeremy's books, the Taurus. And one star's clearly bigger. I got a feeling this is where the contract is hidden. But how do I get to it? This one looks operational. Work. acknowledge psychological trauma, break through barriers of self-deceit, temper manic behavior. These are the Dark Man's terms. The contract. Huh?
Hey. Hey, detective? What are you doing?
Oh, I found something.
Great. Was it alcohol?
God, no, I just got the wind knocked out of me. I think I know how to break the contract with the Dark Man.
What exactly does that mean?
Everything going back to normal.
All right. I found some more information on Dorsetto and the patients. There are some seriously strange things going on here. I'm pretty sure 2 of the patients are dead and maybe even the clerk.
Oh, yeah. I kind of just gave up on worrying about that.
Well, just keep your eyes open, I suppose. What were you doing again?
Jeremy made a pact with the Dark Man to keep all the madness locked inside Dorsetto.
All right.
I'm gonna break it. I just have to... Where is it? Where's the talisman?
It's around your neck?
Ah!
I worry, Detective.
Don't, I'm fine.
I worry that you're not much help on this case. At least you're a good distraction.
Trust me. You're getting your money's worth. At this rate, I'm an absolute bargain.
He must first acknowledge psychological trauma in order to proceed. The lying must stop, so we can break through the barriers of self-deceit. Finally, temper manic behavior.
Medicine has failed me. Nothing can be done to dispel the hardwood curse. Only the sacrificial dagger may release the despair from Jacob's eye. Yet, doing so would be the doom of Dorsetto. Let this curse of mine be a weapon for once. I accept your demands, oh, crawling chaos. Build your prison around this godforsaken hospital. When evil has been starved, I will stay buried forever.
Carnby never thought he'd be so happy to be back at Dorsetto. It felt like he had crawled through a long, dark tunnel of misery and regret. Now that he was back, Carnby could look into the steps mentioned in the contract. But there was one thing that gnawed on him. What exactly did this have to do with Dr. Gray?
This evening needed some ambiance.
Got to be around here somewhere. He wouldn't leave this house.
I don't know what to think anymore. You run into that detective fella?
Who is he? Can he be trusted?
I think he one of the good guys. Well, you know, like us.
Will he be all right with her coming? Praise the mother.
You don't need to know about all that. Just help the journey. Just calm down. It ain't time yet.
God, it hurts.
As far as I can tell, Detective Carnby seems to be solving problems, not causing them.
Just be ready in case he starts anything.
The two orderlies still hadn't found Jeremy. Carnby figured this was good news. Emily had reminded him about some strange deaths at Desetto, and Carnby wasn't sure who he could trust.
Christ, what the hell was that?
We must have faith that Jeremy's pact with the Dark Man is a bluff. If we are lucky, our visitors will find him and prove it's all nonsense before night falls. What is true is our attempt to call on her. Too many things have happened for this evening to be in vain. Think of Jack and Cassandra, even Perosi, whose circumstances I can't understand. Grace is a goat without horns. She knows it and will play the role. You must talk to your brother, Batiste. I worry that he will fail us. Mrs. Thompson.
Lunacy and the Astarte Artist Colony, a monograph by Yael Klein. In early 1909, the old Derceto plantation outside of New Orleans was turned into an artist's colony. 3 famous European artists rented the house and the surrounding land from the owner, the Ledoux family. The colony was chiefly run by Sebastian Cortez, who was playfully dubbed the captain by his collaborators, William Arges and Heinrich Kassel. The colony existed for 6 years, until one day all 12 members disappeared without a trace. It is widely believed that their disappearance is connected to the disastrous hurricane that passed through on September 29, 1915, but nothing truly supports this claim. What is known is their frequent participation in New Orleans nightlife, their love for hosting parties, and their elaborate contributions to the Mardi Gras parades as the Pirates of Pontchartrain. Accounts of their lifestyle can be found in almost every gossip column. It can effectively be summed up as carefree and bohemian. In late June 1909, the name Astarte first appeared in the newspapers. Cortez said the name came to him as he was painting. There is never any claim to knowing about the ancient Phoenician fertility goddess with the same name before this time. His fellow colonist Heinrich Kassel did know, because he later produced sculptures that show clear references to ancient idols of the goddess. It's impossible to know for sure how this name suddenly made an appearance, but it is interesting because of Derceto's history.
Mrs. Thompson, I understand the last week has been busy. Under these circumstances, I find it important to remind you that Derceto's concerns are not a public matter, nor is it something that should upset you. Please continue your excellent work, and don't spend a thought on the death of Perosi, or, more importantly, the suicide of Cassandra Beauregard. They should mean nothing to you or the staff. I rely on your loyalty, and trust that your close kinship with the Tabois siblings will keep Derceto's secrets hidden. Dr. Gray.
Detective Carnby. Good to see you again. Solved your case yet?
I'm trying. Hey, Grace, you okay?
Oh, she is just peachy, Detective. Are you looking forward to the Feast of St. John, Grace?
I can't wait.
Kids, ain't they great?
What exactly are you planning for tonight?
Oh, not much. We eat, we drink, we pay tribute to the wishing tree in the conservatory. The usual.
Then why all the excitement?
There is just something about tonight. Something's different. I think we all feel it. Besides, we got ourselves some new words for the prayer thanks to your buddy Jeremy.
She'll come and turn the world inside out, and things will begin again.
That sounds strangely threatening.
You should come.
Oh, God damn it, Grace. Stay put for once.
McCarthy was a deadbeat. His mere presence annoyed Carnby. It was like watching the worst version of himself mock him by simply being worthless. While Carnby enjoyed watching the child outplay the drunkard, there was something terrifyingly familiar about Grace. It was taunting him, like he was supposed to remember, but couldn't.
I better hold on to these. Wouldn't want them to get lost.
What did you expect from them? You created too much. There wasn't any room to breathe. Your reification rendered all possible worlds void. You took everything they could imagine and constrained it into something that you didn't even care about. Or maybe you did. Perhaps you cared the most of all. Maybe you tried to save them from themselves, and that is why you had to die.
Jeremy knew that the only one who could help him now was the guest in room number 3. The room seemed to have been empty for so long. But that wasn't allowed to be true. The story needed to be different. To include something from the outside, he would bring the guest back to room 3 and show them what was in that safe. 913. But those were not the right numbers. That was the combination for the safe in the clerk's office.
There must be a spare key to Dr. Gray's office in here somewhere. I don't have the combination for this. Or maybe Jeremy did. It worked.
The last guest in the empty room suffered from severe maladaptation. I must write this down, because if I understand the condition sufficiently, it could make me deny this fact at a later date, and there is reason for me to think I may come to suffer the consequences from this dysfunction, as some who came in contact with the guest seemed to adopt a new worldview in which everything was predetermined but broken. Upon accepting this worldview, some memories became unmanageable and later rejected. I do not know what this means. I cannot even remember the fate of the guest. I think they were simply misplaced one day and forgotten. Just like all documents pertaining to this guest, they have all been destroyed, or they never existed in the first place. Who wrote this? There has never been a guest in the empty room.
Dr. Gray's office, all to myself. Let's see if we can figure this guy out.
Dr. Gray was somehow mixed up in this business with the Dark Man, Detective Carnby decided. He had to be. Either Dr. Gray was using the idea of the Dark Man to manipulate and torture Jeremy, or the Dark Man was an actual powerful being possessing Jeremy. And in that case, Dr. Gray was simply a stooge. Maybe both could be true at once. Carnby felt his mind racing in all directions. No matter what, he had to find a way to break the pact. That was what Jeremy said was needed. It didn't even matter what was true or not. If Jeremy wouldn't leave Derceto before the contract was broken, then Carnby had to make it happen. He just wished the steps on the contract made a little more sense.
I have finished tidying up Miss Beauregard's belongings. I will leave it to you to contact her agent and have them collect her things. I found one of Grace's drawings she might want back, along with this key in her room, which I believe you've been looking for. Mrs. Thompson.
This is where McCarthy has hidden my favorite young. It's very important.
Dearest Dr. Manzetti, I find myself in a losing battle with my patient. As I've disclosed in my previous letter, his delusions have him completely captured. It's bad enough that he is torturing himself with paranoia, but his madness turns out to be quite persuasive to others, effectively laying the ground for mass delusion. I am writing to you in hope that you can give me some guidance. Beyond my ambition to avoid devastating surgery on my patient, I have grown worried about my own defenses. The words of my patient are deranged, yet they often resonate with something primitive within me. I have tried photographing his brain with X-rays. It was surprisingly difficult to get good results. Dark blotches on the plates kept obscuring all details. My patient looked at the bad plates and cried out in terror, telling me the dark areas was the shadow of the worm eating him from inside. I could not see anything out of the ordinary. I hope this is a sign that my mind is not as receptive to the madness as I had feared. After further inquiry, my patient described the shadows inside his mind as some kind of chthonic monstrosity that wants to undermine his sanctuary. This is clearly a reference to a place he calls Teroea, a sort of library or convent that works as a psychological haven. With this imaginary haven threatened by this Chthonian, he has now constructed another, less pleasant hiding spot. Lately, he has been bringing up a metaphor of a steamboat that has run aground, that he feels like he needs to start the engines and reverse, but he is afraid that the hole in the hull would cause the whole ship to sink. I've been watching him turn this metaphor into reality for the last week. He knows it's made up, but he is doubling down, trying to make it a real memory. I feel certain that this is my chance to break through the barriers of his self-deceit.
What a terrible thing to recognize that your betterment was an illusion. That you are so infatuated by the virtue of struggling that despite all your hard work, you made no real efforts to ever become well. Or that the treatment becomes such an obsession that instead of letting your wounds heal over time, you tear at the flesh in the hope that it will heal better and faster. If only it would bleed in the way you wanted. Do we ever become well? What do you think, Dr. Gray?
This can't be real. There's something missing.
Detective Carnby, I'm terribly sorry that my niece has pulled you into this mess. Please, with all my blessings, take her away from this cursed place. I have destroyed that eater of worlds and locked it away in the attic and retreated to a place of hiding. Tell Emily I'm safe. Tell her all the lies you can think of to make her listen. Take her back to New Orleans. Sincerely, Jeremy.
Brother, I need you to trust me. This is the most important moment in our family's history. I know you have doubts and that the terrible Mama Loa told you lies. I would never betray you. I promise. Lottie.
No, no. This is my room. I belong here. I recognize this view. I know that number. Where's that from? I did this. I wrote that. I know the combination. I carry it with me.
Detective, I have made many discoveries in my case. The child we want is safe, thanks to good people like me and you. We're so similar, but you don't see all the things I do. To find your man, Jeremy, you also need to look for the girl. It has always been that way. The young deliver us all. You should have a look in my room. There's a piece of the puzzle you will need. Take care now. My coffee.
How long have I been here? I can't take this much more. This has to end.
The empty room always felt familiar. It had a mild fragrance of crushed leaves and wet sand that somehow convinced visitors that they belonged. It wasn't real, of course, but it was more real than many other things you could find.
Surprisingly neat. Maybe I've been selling that old barfly short.
Sometimes I think this place makes me worse. That Desetto might be my grave. A coffin made of ostentatious architecture. A Taj Mahal for the drunken depressed. There's something about Desetto. Something about Dr. Gray. Like we all pretend that we're here to get better, when in fact we are here to be forgotten.
Looks like McCarthy has something hidden inside. Why would McCarthy lock this up? Was he trying to keep Grace from completing the shank? If so, couldn't she have just made another drawing?
What the hell happened in here?
This looks familiar. That's me, isn't it? How long had it been since I drowned myself in drink and depression? It all felt so peaceful, slipping away into oblivion. A welcoming, dark voice wrapped around my mind like a heavy blanket. It turned off suddenly as I woke up from the sound of my office door closing shut. A messenger had left a telegram from Mrs. Saunders. She had a lead on where to find her husband and her kidnapped daughter.
He was back in the French Quarter, his office to be exact, a place Jeremy had certainly never seen. It could only mean that the dark man had reached inside Edward's mind and conjured this place for him to suffer.
God, I used to drink so much back then. When was this exactly? What? This was I working. I remember this case. Some kid got taken by her father, headed out of state, but he had made a mistake by selling a painting that his wife actually cared about to a collector named Thornhill to fund his venture. That's how I tracked him down. At least I think so.
Carnby vaguely remembered the case of the missing child. She was kidnapped by her estranged father. There was some connection to a gallerist named Thornhill, a painting sold to pay for a getaway.
I can't go that way. Thornhill wasn't a bad man, but he had principles keeping him from handing out information about his deals. So it needed some convincing. Well, every case can't be squeaky clean. Mr. Saunders had sold a valuable painting to Thornhill, hoping the money would carry him to wherever he was going. The painting, now leaning on an easel in Thornhill's bedroom, had a certain mesmerizing gloom that seemed to call out to me, telling me I was needed for something important. I felt myself falling into the painting, only being brought back by Thornhill, thrusting an address to a Hotel St. George into my hand and asking me to get the hell out. I don't remember this at all, but I can't say it didn't happen.
The kidnapper had sold a painting to Thornhill, the collector, to pay for a car and enough gas to get out of Louisiana. Detective Carnby was suddenly reminded of shaking him down to find out where the kidnapper was hiding. St. George's Hotel by the park.
I can't go that way. I can't go that way. On my way to the hotel, the Morton gang caught up with me. I owed them money, a lot of it. I can't remember what for, probably some dumb gambling debt growing in size for each payment missed. I punched one of them out, and I sent the others packing. It was a stupid move. They didn't pack. found him. In the hotel ledger, I recognized the handwriting and the signature. Ted Stryker. It was him. I could feel it. It was the kidnapper I was hunting. I put on my knuckles and hurried up to his room. Something about that name, Ted Stryker, rings a bell. Feels vaguely familiar. I recognize this room, but I didn't catch up with them here. I must have followed them. But where? That's right, he was running away, ditching his old life and marriage in New Orleans to find something better in Tallahassee. And he took his daughter with him against the will of the mother. That's why she hired me. But I stopped him. I caught up with him at the Pearl River Bridge.
Detective Carnby didn't recognize the bridge across Pearl River. It was firmly obfuscated by trauma, events that had left Carnby scarred for life.
Pearl River. This is where I caught up with them. This is what the Dark Man wanted me to revisit. But I'm still not seeing it. What am I forgetting?
Edward had heard the whispers for years. When he lived in Brooklyn, it was only on rare occasions, like when he as a child climbed that tall tree in Central Park, or when he almost drowned in the Hudson River, trying to save his despaired mother. The whispers became more common as he moved to New Orleans, but still rare enough to be ignored. Now as he walks the halls of Darceto, he knows what is calling him. He doesn't want to admit it, but the dark young in the conservatory is telling him to sacrifice the cabris and corn.
I can't believe I didn't recognize you.
I looked a little different back then, I suppose.
Was any of this real?
How do you mean?
This day, just... so much is happening. I can't... I think I've lost my head. Do you need me to apologize? I mean... I am sorry. I don't think I need to begin to explain. You're just a kid, Grace. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen.
Lies. More lies.
No, really. I thought I was being a good guy by handing you over to your mother. I didn't know. I couldn't have known that she wouldn't care about you.
I don't know how this works. What is this for?
Some form of admission of guilt. Maybe acceptance. It's what the Dark Man wants.
I guess we just watch my father die again then.
You think he's alive?
I know he is. He's down there, scared that he won't be able to get out. That he will drown with his daughter again.
What are you saying? We gotta save him!
We? Do it yourself. I'm down there with him, remember?
Can I really save them? This all happened so long ago. I have to find a way to get down there. I have to see it with my own eyes.
Carnby had run their car off the bridge. He pulled Grace out of the sinking car, but left her father to drown. He could have saved him. There was time. He just chose not to. Instead, he took Grace back to New Orleans and collected his paycheck.
There was a boat at the house where I entered. If I can raise the bridge, I should be able to get to the car. There must be a way to save you both, right? Why else would I be here? Don't worry, kid. I'll think of something. This must be where the bridge is operated. Nothing's happening. Something's holding it back. There we go. I should be able to... Where did she go? I really hope she didn't jump.
God, Carnby. Are you okay?
Don't leave me alone.
What the hell have you been doing?
What's going on here? Look at this mess!
I'm sorry, Mrs. Thompson.
Don't make me kick you out of this house. Now get out!
Hey, Detective. Mr. Carnby. I'm really worried about you.
I'm okay. I just need to catch my breath for a moment.
This place? There are some very disturbed figures around here. And I don't think it's just the patients. I've been reading some things about how Derceto has a deranging effect on people. I think it might explain things.
What?
Just take it easy, okay? I'm gonna go find a way into Dr. Gray's apartment. I want to know what he's hiding.
Emily, don't worry. I think I'm close. I'm gonna set everything right.
Just be careful.
I'm not going in there. She's clearly had enough of me. What is it? What do you want? Don't worry. I'll remember. You should have. It's blocked. I don't want to run into the orderlies right now. Not not sure I can trust them. I think Dr. Gray might be in there. Perfect time to snoop around his office, then. This doesn't look good.
Derceto stands on a breeding ground for the grotesque, a temple devoted to rebellious growth, the most ugly and cancerous side of nature. You may be able to shield your psyche for a while, but rest assured your soul will come to pray to that hideous god in time. That is the story of every man and woman who gather around that ancient arbor. They all croak, bark, and bleat, because their own bodies are afraid and they wish to repel the evil those words conjure. Ia! Ia! Instead of that blasphemous name, they gossip in hushed whispers the name of Derceto, Astarte, and the black goat of the woods.
I need the key.
Radiography. Patient Jeremy Hartwood. Date June 14, 1930. Plates. Jeremy's skull proved difficult to capture properly. Partial radiographs worked best. A complete picture of the brain can be assembled by piecing 3 plates together. Observations. Even when looking at an assembled version, a shadow covers significant parts of Jeremy's brain. Possible tumor, but more likely that the equipment is failing. Jeremy reacted strongly to the pictures and claimed to see a giant clay worm eating and displacing his memories. Notes. While this exercise has left me nowhere closer to an answer, I feel confident that a Burkhardt lobotomy should sever all necessary parts. Hypothetical psychosurgery based on the ideas by Burkhardt and the St. Petersburg research could end up saving Jeremy's mind. Severing the connections around the frontal lobe would certainly solve most mental afflictions. The procedure would be brutal in performance, as well as in efficiency. An ice pick pushed through the edge of the eye and into the skull would untether the nerves like Alexander cutting the Gordian knot. As this would likely leave Jeremy in a very different condition, all other paths should first be explored. The medical instrument I would need for this lobotomy is missing, and I should have Waits order a new one.
Don't mind if I do. That's better. I need the key. And we're back here. Well, perfect time to have a look around this place.
What is that?
No, is this? This is where Jeremy's hiding, right?
Hello? Is anyone there?
Jeremy?
I need help!
Wait! Can you hear me?
I'm stuck in the mud and the fire is taking me.
Where are you?
The motor is dead. I can't do anything more.
Hang on, Jeremy. I'll figure something out. I'll get the boat running.
Jeremy was calling out for help, but Carnby couldn't figure out where the voice was coming from. For a moment, Carnby wondered if the boat itself was Jeremy, or if he was below it somehow. It didn't matter right now. Jeremy was clear on one thing. He wanted Carnby to get the steamboat running and out of the mud. Carnby entered some new, mucky dreamland of Jeremy's, a long-abandoned steamboat aground in the bayou. Dr. Gray had been putting Jeremy through some thorough medical investigation. He was trying to break through Jeremy's stories and get to some truth, just like Carnby was. Could Dr. Gray have been trying to break the contract as well? The dark man had forced Carnby to face his memories of Grace and her father, how he ran him off the bridge at Pearl River and carried on to steal his child as he was drowning. He then handed Grace off to her mother because that was the job, and you don't question the job. You take the money and get drunk. As Carnby slowly accepted his trauma, he started to wonder why it was his and not Jeremy's.
boat's wedged itself right into the bayou. If I get the motor started, I could try reversing back into the river.
The artist spent a lot of time boating on the vast Lake Pontchartrain. Poetry, painting, photography, everything seemed to become better by the shimmering water and the opalescent sky. One night, as the sailors returned to Darceto, they found a masquerade ball taking place. It must have been Perosi and Nora who invited their friends from the theater. The sailors quickly fashioned masks out of plaster of Paris and joined the festivities. They enjoyed themselves for hours before realizing time was not passing. Nor could they find their friends. As they began to worry, they demanded that the guests unmasked. But they could not, because they were not wearing any masks.
Jeremy, where are you?
There are many ways to cross a threshold. The easiest one is being invited. A door swung open, leading you inside. Another is sleep, hypnosis, or even sudden fright. There are those who fold spaces that challenge Mobius, or jump through angles that defy Euclid. If you learn to properly use your talisman, you could go anywhere. You wouldn't even need to rely on the fluttering wings of the shrieking Biakis.
Looks pretty weak. This definitely needs fuel.
Whoa!
Are you ready to tell me what happened in the attic? I put a rope around my neck, and then I strangled all life from my body. Are you under the impression that you died? Yes. No. I was supposed to die.
What does that mean? That you were supposed to die?
I'm the catalyst. I had to die to make the story happen.
What story? What are you referring to, Jeremy?
30 years ago, Frederic needed me to die.
You're not making any sense, Jeremy. Come back. Find your focus.
Hey! I cheated everyone. I didn't play my part. Hey! I escaped my doom. My destiny.
Again, find your focus.
Hey, I'm right here. What the hell is going on?
Now everything is wrong. Nothing is in
Hey!
place.
I'm right here!
Calm down, Mr. Carnby. What do you want?
Were you not talking to Jeremy right now?
I haven't seen Jeremy all day. Are you all right, Detective?
No. Actually, I don't think so. Well, maybe. I'm gonna go look for Jeremy.
Good. Let me know if you find him.
That was Jeremy's self-deceit, a steamboat stuck in the mud? I'm not gonna pretend I understand any of that. What a bunch of psychoanalytic nonsense.
The steamboat was a hideaway that Jeremy had built over the last few days. Having seen his memories extracted and expanded into physical realms by the Dog Man, his unconscious mind had decided to take the chance that Jeremy could manifest a world in secret. A world that wasn't sanctioned by the Dog Man. Deploying his own self-deceit as a gambit against his dog master. It wasn't clear to Detective Carnby that he had actually accomplished anything, but he had the distinct feeling that he was making progress. The steamboat must have been what the self-deceit was referring to, and clearly the business with Grace was psychological trauma. Out of the 3 steps on the Dog Man's contract, only one thing seemed to remain: tempomanic behavior. Carnby was getting sick of guessing. It was time to pay Dr. Gray a visit in his apartment.
Detective, am I glad to see you. Lock the door, will you? I don't think Dr. Gray would appreciate us snooping around.
What's going on here? This feels so strange.
Detective Carnby felt removed from himself. Like driving drunk, he carefully tried to navigate his environment. What the hell was going on? Was he finally losing his mind? At least Emily was here to call the police if he went off the deep end.
Have you found anything?
What? Yeah, I've seen some things.
Okay. Let me know if there is anything you want to talk about.
You don't find this place strange?
Derceto is certainly one of the stranger places I've been to.
This room feels too real, hyper real, more than anything I've ever experienced.
Okay. I don't see what you mean.
Forget it. I gotta get back to breaking the contract. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Hey. There's a book missing.
What did you do?
I was just rearranging the books.
Well, come on, let's check it out. I think I'm beginning to understand. Dr. Gray is dealing with some kind of mass delusion.
What were you saying about mass delusion?
Derceto seems to have a deranging effect on people living close by. It has a history of creating cults devoted to some nature goddess. Even the name Derceto refers to the cult existing here before the Civil War. Derceto was the name of an ancient fertility goddess worshipped in Syria. Dr. Gray and his friends, however, seem to prefer the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young, or Shub-Nigroth. And that name can only have come from my uncle's twisted mind.
You think all of them are in this cult business? Even Jeremy?
I'm not sure any of them have a choice at this point. We just need to find a way to stop all of this.
I've been so busy trying to free your uncle from the promise he made to the Dark Man. I guess I kind of just let everything else go.
Don't worry, Detective. I feel like we're close. I'm sure Jeremy will turn up. If he is part of the cult, he wouldn't want to miss the Feast of St. John. I just need enough information to make him see the truth.
I hope you're right, but I doubt he'll show up. Not as long as the Dark Man's got him hiding.
Good to finally meet you, Mr. Hartwood. I'm here on the behalf of your brother Philip. You were expecting me, weren't you?
Yes. You're from Detective, no?
That's right. I just wanted to ask you a few questions to see if there is anything I can do to help you and your family.
Okay.
I understand you're full of imagination. You make up a lot of things.
I suppose.
And you obsess over them, blurring reality and fiction.
Sometimes.
Do you want to tell me about the Dark Man?
No, I don't.
That's all right. Perhaps there is something else you can tell me. Something you know to be made up, but you hold dear.
Juan?
John? Who's John?
No, Juan Luis Jorge. Oh, wait there a moment. Here, take a look.
Is he... Oh, he is the author.
It's a magnificent book. Life-changing even. The real Juan is long dead, but I like to think of him as my friend. My most beloved friend.
I see. Do you often do this? Fantasize about people you read about?
No. Well, there is Jacob.
Who is Jacob?
Turn to the last page.
Oh, it's a newspaper article. The Prisoner of Ice, Jacob van Ostad. Is he also your beloved friend?
Oh, no, Doctor. Not at all. He is the fire that fights fire.
Yes, I think it's clear your overstimulated imagination, this mania, needs to be tempered for you to live a normal life. I know your family calls it the Heartwood Curse, but I want you to know that there is nothing supernatural about your condition. It's all inside your head. And with that, I'm very qualified to deal with. In time, you will be cured.
In time.
Yes, in time we will exorcise all your demons, all the dark men.
Yeah!
Please, Mr. Heartwood, calm yourself.
What happened?
Oh, don't you worry your little head about it, Miss Heartwood. Your uncle and I just had our first breakthrough.
That mark on the floor looks like talisman positions, but from which direction should I look at?
The Snake Dagger, a monograph by Yael Klein. In Ludwig Prin's book on pagan rituals called The Mystery of the Grave, as translated by Nicholas Vachy, there are several references to a sacrificial dagger called the Snake Dagger. It has long been thought of as a poor translation of the original text, that it would be more appropriate with worm dagger from the Latin vermis cultrum. This seems natural following the recent consensus that the original title of Prin's book, De Vermis Mysteris, should literally translate to the mystery of the worm. However, this would take away from Vachy's great effort at translating the underlying meaning of the words and revealing several cultural beliefs. While Prin certainly was using the term worm as a symbol or synecdoche for death and the dead, which is made clear by the contents of the book, in the case of the dagger, we shouldn't be too hasty to dismiss his translation. Reading through Vachy's correspondence with his patron, it appears that he had more than just the Latin text at his disposal. Vachy had dug up Prin's living relatives and uncovered several cross-referenced historical texts and an actual snake dagger. The dagger was dated to the early Middle Kingdom of Egypt and had such a clear shape of a wave that Vachy considered calling it the sinusoidal blade. Knowing the full story, it seems prudent that he chose to translate it as snake and not worm. There are several reasons why this choice of word helps us understand the pagans that Prin's book attempts to describe. The symbolic value of the shape becomes more apparent when reading about the use for the dagger. In the passage of possession and exorcism, we find the snake dagger poisons the poisoner within the victim and is therefore pacified. Where the literal text would tell us that the worm dagger trumps the demon possessing the victim, it tells us nothing of their reasoning, only that somehow this dagger wins against the demon, like it had the better hand in poker. Vahi's translation allows us to follow the underlying logic to the ritual magic that is being performed. Poison the poisoner. Sounds like fighting fire with fire. That to hurt the demon possessing its victim, the priests would have to fight back with a power that is known to the evil they are fighting. The snake dagger is therefore not only a good way to describe its form, but it also helps us understand how it could be thought of as a useful tool for exorcism. Finally, it also helps us understand their relationship to lunacy, that it was thought of as something poisoning the mind rather than controlling it. What is also interesting to note is that the possessed are always considered poisoned in their head and not their heart. The snake dagger always went to the eye of the possessed, leaving them partially blind, if they had the good luck to survive.
Huh. Has that been there this whole time? Hello?
Detective Carnby.
Who is this? Jeremy?
Jeremy is with the Dark Man. You can't save him.
Well, I've done everything he wanted so far, and there's just one more thing on the list. I expect him to keep his promise and return Jeremy unharmed.
Get out, Detective, while you still can.
Detective Carnby wanted nothing more than to make sense of it all, but clearly that was not in the cards right now.
You okay? You look a little frazzled.
Just stupid telephone.
I know. I tried calling the police earlier. The telephone is completely dead.
It's not... Yeah, no, the telephone isn't working.
Detective Carnby was worried Emily could tell, that she could see the madness written on his face. But what if he was the only one seeing the truth? Could that still be the case? If only he could find evidence that would make her understand that he had seen beyond the veil, or at least something that would show her he was worth the money she was paying him.
Miss Hartwood, I think you're gonna want to see this.
Is there something in the closet?
Yeah, there is. You don't see the very obvious gate leading to whatever Jeremy's madness is serving up next?
I don't understand. Are you making some kind of fashion metaphor? I'm sorry, I don't have time for this. Can you just tell me what you're doing?
You don't see this. It's fine. It's fine. Catch you later.
Are you going inside the closet?
Yeah. You got a problem with that?
No. Do what you think is right, Detective.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. Goodbye, Miss Hartwood.
Disheartened by his failure to make Emily understand what he was doing, Detective Carnby actually felt better seeing the frozen hell before him. There was a finality to it. Its clear symbolic opposite to the dark man's desert made him realize this was the end. Soon it would all be over.
What can be said about Jacob van Ostad without evoking contempt or apologia? The first piece of information is the obvious. He is not the explorer Jeremy idolized in his youth, but the figment of his imagination. If you want biographical facts, I am not the one to answer such questions. In the case of Jeremy, he is a guardian of imagination, or rather a persona appointed the role of containing a self-sabotaging mania. However useful Jacob once was, his loyalty to Jeremy has slowly been replaced by fanaticism. Like a firekeeper who has for decades been burnt by his own sacred flames, now does what he imagines the fire wants. Jeremy has lost all control over Jacob and suffers greatly because of him, but is admittedly also still invigorated by his labor. In the plainest of words, Jacob keeps Jeremy sick so he can remain Jeremy.
We found the ancient stellarium perched on a cliff facing the Arctic Ocean after a day of sailing due north of the Eskimo encampment. Jacob van Ostad was our most keen member of the expedition. He had been chasing down the source of a peculiar type of crystallized metal present in several sacred items among the natives on the northeast coast of Greenland. The site was a remarkable find for any explorer, and we were all enraptured in our search for enlightenment and meaning. The surviving architecture seemed almost unearthly in origin and astonishingly sophisticated. The metal Jacob was searching for was abundant, almost ubiquitous. We were so taken by our find that we were surprised by the sun falling below the horizon. As we quickly picked up our gear, ready to head back to our camp, Jacob van Ostad declared that he wanted to stay. He was adamant. We begged him to reconsider, The night would be getting colder by the hour, and we feared for all our safety. Jacob refused, threatening us with violence if we wouldn't leave him alone. As the snowfall turned heavier, we left him there on his own. The next day, the weather became worse, and we had to spend hours enforcing our shelter as our tents became increasingly useless. The group had written off Jacob, thinking he must be dead. I had an urge to make one final attempt to save him, so I headed out as darkness fell with a handful of flares and headed toward the coast and up the climb, towards the Stellarium. That's when I saw him, transfixed by a burning sky, that celestial lantern. Jacob keeled over and let out a painful shriek that struck me with such fear and pity. He was crying in agony, for the cold weather had ravaged his flesh. I called out to him, and he turned to face me. His vacant stare held me in place like a needle through a butterfly, and he said, "You must leave now, Ashtan. Go, and never come back." And so I left.
Hey, you! What are you doing here?
What is this place?
Turn back, detective. You're not wanted here.
Whoa, take it easy. I'm not your enemy.
Oh, you're wrong, detective. You're wrong.
Jeremy?
I did everything! Aren't you happy? Stupid charlatan! What more do you want from me? You want me to lose my mind?
Oh, my lord! Doctor! Baptiste! Quick!
Jesus. What were you thinking, Carnby?
You awake? You are awake. Mr. Carnby's up.
Hey, buddy. I thought you'd be knocked out for the rest of the night. Come on out and join us, will you? I'll save you some gumbo.
Good to have you back. You gave us all a good scare.
What happened?
You had a psychological breakdown. Sorry for manhandling you, but you're being violent, you see.
You stabbed Jeremy and then punched Dr. Gray.
Are they okay?
Jeremy's a little strange, but everything's back to normal.
Really?
All thanks to you, Carnby. You want to try standing up?
Well, if it isn't the hero of the day. How are you feeling, Detective?
Never better. How about you two? Hey, Jeremy, I didn't do too much damage, did I?
Things are fine. Very quiet.
What's up with him? Painkillers?
No. You see, despite you having the finesse of a one-eyed butcher, you managed to lobotomize dear Jeremy.
I did what?
It's actually quite impressive. It's not like I hadn't considered it myself. I just wish Jeremy could have been helped without reducing his personality to that of an oyster.
But he's gonna live.
Of course. As long as someone keeps feeding him, he'll outlive the best of us.
Everything was back to normal. Did any of it really happen? What had Carnby actually been doing all night?
Does Emily know about Jeremy's condition?
Yes. She seems to be handling it quite well under the circumstances.
Does she still want to take Jeremy away from Derceto?
I will have to insist that you do. This is not that kind of institution.
Jeremy, hang on for a little longer, okay? We'll be going back to New Orleans soon.
Oh, good. I do so miss the city lights.
Case closed. Detective Carnby had found Jeremy and brought him back to Derceto. He worried that Emily wouldn't be all that happy with his performance, considering Jeremy's impromptu brain surgery. Maybe she would refuse to pay him in full. It was the kind of thought that would normally infuriate Carnby, but right now he just felt happy to be back. No matter if he would be seeing the $150 or not, he couldn't wait to rendezvous with Emily and go back to New Orleans.
Hey, Ruth. Glad to see you made it back to Derceto.
You too, Detective. Make sure to stay for the festivities. It's no Mardi Gras, but it ain't bad.
You seen Emily around?
I saw her packing some things into that old jalopy you arrived in about an hour ago. I'm sure she hasn't given up on you yet.
Catch you later.
Looking forward to it, Detective.
What are you looking for?
Just keeping an eye out for the storm. Radio says it could be a wild one.
You don't know where Emily is, do you?
She's packing some of Jeremy's things. Said she wanted to take them away. I'm sure she'll come and get you when she's ready.
I should probably get a move on then.
See you around, compare.
Good to see you back on your feet, Detective. Have some gumbo.
Thanks. I'll save it for later. Seems like everyone's in a pretty good mood.
The Eve of St. John is the most important date of the whole year. It's the only day when the black goat of the woods tends to her young.
I'm gonna go look for Emily.
Don't worry about her. She wouldn't leave without you, would she?
All right, tell me, what the hell's about to happen here?
Every year we have a little turn the page ceremony by the tree. It's symbolical. It's like life has its cycles of grief and happiness. You know? Just like a tree facing the seasons. Things change, but remain the same.
So this is basically New Year's Eve, but with a tree metaphor.
Exactly. You're so smart. It's about starting again. I mean, who could use a positive message like that more than a bunch of lunatics like us?
I get the feeling some of you think this year is going to be special. Any idea why?
Well, we got some new words, thanks to your buddy Jeremy, and some other changes to the program. Let's just say we're all in this year.
That is one impressive tree.
More impressive than you could ever imagine.
So how does this all work? You dance around chanting? For the ritual, I mean?
Stay and find out, Detective. It might just do you good.
You haven't seen Emily, have you?
No, Detective. I haven't.
Hey, kid. What are you up to?
Preparing for the ceremony. I don't want to disappoint Mother.
What's your part in this?
I'm the Cabersan Corn. It's very important. Only I can settle our debt.
You know, I had my doubts, but you are in the right place, Grace.
I think you might be right. For once.
Everyone knows what to do? Y'all know the new words.
Mrs. Thompson, we talked about this. I'm not sure everyone is comfortable.
Doctor, I insist. This is important. We've waited for so long, Doctor.
Let's just go with the old song. Not every change is an improvement.
Boss, good or bad, we need to move forward.
All in, Doc. Let's bet it all.
But we don't know what we're dealing with.
It'll be okay, Doctor. Better even.
Ever their praises and abundance to the black goat of the woods. Hear us, Mother. Take pity on us. Take pity on us.
Ever
Hear
their
us,
praises
Mother,
and
praises
abundance
and
to the
abundance,
black
black
goat
goat
of
of
the
the
pity
woods.
on us.
Hear us,
Mother,
Mother,
and
and take pity on us. Take pity on us.
Mother, and take
Ever there's a praise, everyone abundance of the black goat of the woods. Hear us, Mother, and take pity on us. Accept our sacrifice. Judge our work.
Stop! Are you crazy?
This here's what needs to happen, Carnby.
Grace, stop!
Yeah! Shoot the ground! Yeah! Shoot the ground! The black goat of the woods!
Stop in the grass. Yeah. Detective, get my uncle out of here.
No, Emily. I get it now. She needed me to break the pact. She needed me to bring her Grace. I did everything for her. I just realized I belong here. I'm one of her young!
What are you saying?
You'll have to run, Emily. You'll have to run!
What?
Everyone knows what to do? Y'all know the new words.
Mrs. Thompson, we talked about this. I'm not sure everyone is comfortable.
Doctor, I insist. This is important. We've waited for so long, Doctor.
Let's just go with the old song. Not every change is an improvement.
Boss, good or bad, we need to move forward.
All in, Doc. Let's bet it all.
But we don't know what we're dealing with.
It'll be okay, Doctor. Better even.
Ever there praises and abundance to the black goat of the woods. Hear us, mother. Take pity on us. Take pity on us.
Ever
Hear
there
us,
praises
Mother,
and
praises
abundance
and
to
abundance
the
to
black
the
goat
black
of
goat
the
of the
woods.
woods.
On us.
Hear us,
Mother,
Mother,
and
and take pity on us. Take pity on us.
Mother, and take
Ever there's a praise and abundance to the black goat of the woods. Hear us, Mother, and take pity on us. Accept our sacrifice and judge our words.
Stop! Are you crazy?
This here's what needs to happen, Carnby.
Grace, stop!
Shoot the ground! Shoot the ground! The black goat of the woods!
Stop in the ground!
Detective, get my uncle out of here.
Jeremy, come with me! Get over here! Jeremy, come with me! Jeremy, come here!
No! There has to be a sacrifice!
We're doomed!
Jeremy! Come on.
Detective Carnby returned just as the festivities were about to begin. Emily was grateful that she didn't have to sit through whatever ceremony the people at Detective had fashioned. Instead, they excused themselves and made their way to the front side of the house. With a tremendous sense of relief, Emily climbed into the car. She watched Carnby ready the back seat for Jeremy in the rearview mirror. What a long night, she thought. Thank God it's all over.
I can't let that monster leave Derceto. I have to stop it. I'm all out of bullets.
Detective!
Oh, what the hell was that?
I tried to tell you. There was so much evidence. Their devotion to the Black Goat was like nothing I've ever seen before. I felt so dumb believing any of it, but I'm glad I did.
Are you okay?
Everything is out of order. This isn't the way the story goes. I shouldn't be alive.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome, buddy.
How are you doing, sweetie?
I kinda like it. You ruined everything, but I'm not mad.
All right, you ready to head back to New Orleans?
Come on, Jeremy. We're leaving.
Can I come?
I thought you said you didn't need saving.
Don't leave her. She's important.
Of course we're taking her with us.
Yay, I'm important.